One morning, 6 months after my divorce due to my husband's affair, the doorbell rang. When I opened the front door, there stood my ex-husband Michael and his mistress, Linda.
We're getting married, so I'm taking this house. We never settled the property during the divorce, so consider this it. I'll be nice and not take anything else. You need to leave.
I never imagined when we first met that one day he'd say such a thing to me. The audacity of the man was astounding. Yet, I decided to let go of the house without a fight. After all, the house no longer felt like home. My name is Susan. I'm 54 years old. I work part-time at a cosmetics store in a mall. My husband Michael is a 58-year-old civil servant who has dedicated his career to local government. Although he is not particularly endowed with his special skills, his years of loyal service have earned him a commendable salary and the esteemed title of head of department. And our daughter Emily, she is 22 years old. She is a new graduate and likes to live alone. She currently lives away from her parents' home. We may seem like just another ordinary family in the tapestry of life, but we find deep contentment in this ordinariness. Michael and I. Our story began when a mutual friend brought us together a few years after I celebrated his 30th birthday. His temporary infatuation led to a relentless pursuit of my affections, and despite my initial hesitation, that pursuit blossomed into a deep and enduring love vortex. Our courtship led to our marriage. With Emily's arrival, fortune soon smiled upon us, and our lives were enriched immeasurably. Michael's solid work ethic was matched only by his enthusiasm for family outings, turning the weekend into a treasure trove of memories.
Let's go to the amusement park this weekend.
I'm so happy. I love you, Daddy.
These interactions formed a basis of our weekends, filled with happy moments where little joys and laughter echoed throughout the house. He lived happily, believing that this happiness would last forever. But the harsh light of reality gradually reveals a different truth. Before Emily decided to spread her wings and live independently, my relationship with Michael began to crack, subtly but clearly. His unwavering kindness towards Emily contrasted with his fading love for me. A terrifying realization that cast a shadow over our bond.
What's going on lately? You seem to be in a bad mood.
It's not a big deal. I'm going out for a bit.
His frequent withdrawal from conversations for hours on end became a painful habit, and I found myself wrestling with the crumbling threads of our relationship. I tried to rekindle the warmth that once defined us.
Sweetheart, let's go shopping together today. Christmas is almost here, so let's go and reserve a cake.
Why do I have to eat boring things like Christmas cake at my age? Besides, Emily has her own plans this year, and my job is in high demand, and I have to work until late.
You seem to be taking on a lot of responsibilities lately.
You're right. Managing a department is no mean feat. A part-time role would get around it.
That's pretty tough. Like you, I was preoccupied with my career until Emily's birth changed my priorities.
Those days are over. Let's stop dwelling on the old days. We need space.
In the face of Michael's diminishing respect and affection, I found myself questioning the very foundations of our relationship. This self-reflection led me to a pivotal decision. I decided to stop trying in vain to fix what was broken, and instead put my heart and soul into my work. On Christmas Day, I decided to abandon the idea of spending it with my husband, given he had work, and I proceeded to my job as usual. The rush of customers had subsided, and as I was restocking for the next wave, a coworker who had just finished her shift spotted me and expressed surprise.
Huh, you're working today?
Yeah.
Didn't I just see your husband shopping on the upper floor with you?
What? No way.
Really? Because, look at this.
She showed me a photo on her smartphone.
They looked so cozy together. I thought I'd show it to you next time I saw you.
Indeed, The man in the photo was unmistakably my husband. However, the woman beside him was definitely not me. Moreover, this stranger was arm in arm with my husband, shopping together like a couple. My coworker must have mistaken her for me because they were both wearing masks.
That's not your daughter, is it?
I tried to calm my coworker, who was now more flustered than I was.
I'll just pop to the restroom.
I headed to the upper floor for confirmation. How I wished the woman linked arm in arm with him was my daughter. But there they were, my husband and definitely not our daughter.
I've seen her somewhere before, but who is she?
Though unsettled, I had to return to my section without confronting them due to work. Later, during my break, I went back upstairs and spoke to a staff member who was there. According to them, my husband had bought the woman an expensive handbag.
He lied about working on Christmas.
After work, I rushed home. Naturally, my husband was not there, and it was past midnight when he returned.
You're late. Been working the whole time.
Of course!
Until this late.
Unlike you, I'm a manager. I'm relied upon for many things. What's with the interrogation?
Ha! To think he could be so brazen after gallivanting with another woman.
All right, I got it. My husband seemed to want to say more, but I was too drained to engage with him any further today.
Good night.
That was all I said, and I went to my room. Since that unsettling incident, the chasm between my husband and me seemed only to widen, with every passing day adding another layer of frost to our once warm relationship. I had in my possession photos sent by a coworker, undeniable evidence of his secret liaisons, which granted me the power to confront him at any moment. Yet, I chose patience, deciding to gather more concrete evidence before making my move. My intuition told me that without irrefutable proof, he would effortlessly weave tales to dodge the accusations. In the midst of these swirling suspicions, he suddenly announced his intention to visit our daughter over the weekend. I found it curious, as I had never stepped foot in her new apartment myself, and eagerly suggested that we make the trip together. However, his outright refusal sent alarm bells ringing in my mind. Choosing not to confront him immediately, I instead sought confirmation from our daughter behind his back. My heart sank as my suspicions were confirmed. She had not heard anything about such a visit and was, in fact, swamped with work that weekend.
How dare he? He would stoop so low as to use our daughter as a cover for his deceit was beyond forgivable.
I seethed internally, my heart aching with betrayal. Without a moment's delay, I set the wheels in motion for a professional investigation into his affair, a decision that would soon unveil the bitter truth. The investigation left no room for doubt. My husband was indeed entangled in an affair. The day he claimed to be visiting our daughter, he was actually captured in photographs, meeting another woman and entering a hotel with her. This woman turned out to be a subordinate at his workplace. That's why I felt that I had seen her before.
He has been lying as if he went out, but he actually visited that lady.
Armed with the damning evidence, I confronted him, my voice steady but my heart pounding.
What is this?
I demanded, thrusting the photos before him.
You've been spying on us. How disturbing.
Disturbing. You think your affair is anything but. I didn't take these photos, I hired someone. So you've been cheating, haven't you?
The room fell into a heavy silence, a silence that seemed to stretch into eternity. I braced myself for excuses, for denials, for the storm that was surely coming. Yet, what followed was a calm acceptance so chilling it left me reeling.
Yes, that's right. What of it? Have I inconvenienced you?
What?
You used to wear makeup and look pretty, but after our daughter was born, you don't wear makeup on holidays anymore. Now you wear so much makeup that it makes me feel uncomfortable, and I don't want to hang out with you.
Is that really the reason for the affair?
Yes! Look at this photo! Doesn't she look much more attractive than you? Besides, you only work part-time while she is a full-time professional. She is a civil servant under my commands.
So what?
Could you please calm down for a moment?
He returned to his room, leaving the paper on the table. It was divorce papers.
Now that our daughter has grown up and left home, there's no reason for us to live together, right? It's a new start for both of us. Goodbye.
When he walked out the door without looking back, I was speechless and filled with a mixture of confusion and disbelief.
What just happened?
I stood there, struggling to understand how quickly our marriage was falling apart.
We haven't even talked about alimony yet.
I panicked and tried to catch up with him, but he was nowhere to be seen, and my calls were quickly rejected. I asked my daughter to contact him without giving any details, but he equally coldly refused her call as well.
I can't believe that he would even turn his back on his daughter.
I thought there was no point in contacting him and decided to call his office, but realized it was already too late. He had resigned the day before, and so had Linda. His colleagues kept the reason for his resignation and where he went secret, so I had no clue to track him down any further. Although I was reluctant to leave things unresolved, I accepted that there was nothing more I could do. With a heavy heart, I signed the divorce papers and submitted them to the city hall. Afterwards, I told my daughter about the entire story honestly. At first, she was surprised but supported me and encouraged me. I found new determination in my work and started filling my free time by visiting my daughter and going out with my co-workers and cherishing the fulfilling days ahead. I'm surrounded by really great people, and I'm grateful for that. The lack of alimony was a bitter pill to swallow, but I learned to accept it and move on. 6 months later, something unexpected happened, and my ex-husband and his new wife suddenly appeared on my doorstep. Early in the morning, I woke up to the sound of the doorbell.
Maybe I ordered a delivery service.
I rushed to the front door and opened it with a mixture of anticipation and confusion.
It's been a while, hasn't it? How have you been?
So, why is this happening to me?
To my surprise, it wasn't a doorstep delivery, but a face from my past that I never thought I'd see again.
Why did you come here all of a sudden?
Even after all this time, you're still as cold as ever. Can I come in for a second? There's something I'd like to talk to you about.
No, you cannot. If you have something to say it here. After all this time, I still don't know what brought you to my door. Just leave, please.
I retorted, feeling a mixture of disbelief and irritation at their audacity to show up unannounced.
You're still being picky. We're here about dividing property, but that's an issue we've never properly resolved.
His tone was full of unwarranted confidence, which irritated me even more.
Are you kidding me? I don't have time for such nonsense. Please leave now.
All I want is this house. Take everything else and move out.
Our conversation went in circles, each exchange more ridiculous than the last.
Stop playing on me.
Oh, such a scary woman. That's why he left you. Since Michael and I don't have any children, I was thinking of getting a dog, but my current house doesn't allow pets. With that kind of attitude, I'm surprised you're not single yet. This house is too big for you alone, isn't it? Just leave without making a fuss.
I can't bear the thought of them disrespecting me in my own home.
I considered calling the police to have them removed from my property for a moment. Despite my anger and the injustice of the situation, I made an immediate decision to surrender my home to them. Their mood visibly brightens at my concessions, and they start chit-chatting about their lives, sharing unsolicited details about their current situation, none of which interest me. I saw this as a chance for revenge, a quiet victory over the pain they had inflicted on me.
Time to retaliate.
After expressing their opinion, they walked away in high spirits, unaware of the storm brewing beneath my calm exterior. 2 weeks later, on the day I moved home, the phone rang as I expected.
There you are.
What does this mean? Come here now and explain.
The ex-husband made the request over the phone, but the surrounding noises spoke to the chaos going on inside the house. Unbeknownst to them, the day they took over the house was also the day it was scheduled for demolition. The house my parents gifted me in my name was so dilapidated that I decided to demolish it and sell it, and with their kindness, I calmly explained the situation to my ex-husband.
If you really want to make that place your home, go ahead and buy the land, then build your house from scratch.
You've got to be kidding me.
My ex-husband's persistence finally hit a wall.
Look, we can't even return to our previous apartment now. You have to do something about this.
That's not my problem. Why don't you to figure it out on your own? And just so you know, I'll be seeking alimony from you.
Alimony? How can you be so cruel when I don't even have a roof over my head?
I'll have my lawyer contact you with the details. There's no escaping this time. And make sure to tell that woman by your side that she'll be facing alimony claims as well.
I ended the call. After hanging up, my ex-husband tried reaching out several times, but I ignored every single call. I don't know what happened to my ex-husband and his mistress afterwards. Subsequently, I proceeded through a lawyer to officially demand alimony from both my ex-husband and his mistress. They must have overestimated their savings. It's basic knowledge that without a steady income, savings will only dwindle. Yet, they nearly depleted their savings in just 6 months through reckless spending. It's shocking how someone who used to be so responsible could end up in such a mess. Life is full of surprises indeed. This whole debacle was apparently their misguided attempt to save on rent. My ex-husband is still too young to receive his pension, and without sufficient savings, he's nowhere near ready to pay the alimony. After our divorce, when my ex-in-laws learned about his predicament, they severed all ties, leaving him with no one to turn to. Even my daughter got a call from him, but she just laughed it off, knowing better than to get involved. Realizing he had no one to depend on, my ex-husband desperately started looking for any job he could find, even the part-time ones he used to disdain. However, finding employment at his age, especially without a permanent address, is challenging. On the other hand, his mistress realized she couldn't afford the alimony on her own, and that my ex-husband was useless in this regard. She left him and moved on to another man. I don't know much about this new man in her life, but I can't help but think she'll end up being abandoned by him too. As long as they manage to pay the alimony, their fate doesn't concern me much. But it makes me wonder if they ever realize that their actions have consequences that eventually catch up to them. Watching their downfall has been a sobering reminder of the life I strive to avoid. On a brighter note, I've dedicated myself to my career, and my efforts have paid off. My sales performance improved significantly, allowing me to return to a full-time position, even earning me the role of head of the cosmetics department. Sharing this news with my daughter, she was genuinely happy for me, and even visited the store to buy cosmetics to celebrate my new position. This moment of shared joy between us was a profound source of happiness for me. Moving forward, I've decided to focus solely on my daughter and my career. Surprisingly, another moment of happiness came to me. At a company social event, I connected with one of the executives. We've started going out occasionally. While we're not considering a relationship or marriage yet, I cherish the hope of a future together. Despite the ups and downs of the past few months, filled with various experiences and emotions, I find myself in a state of unparalleled happiness.